The internet is obsessed with overnight millionaires. A 19-year-old in a rented Lamborghini telling you that wealth is just one drop-shipping store away. I tried it, and I'm here to tell you it's a lie. Well, the timeline is a lie. The overnight success is a lie. But the $1 million? That part is very real. Today, I'm giving you the exact blueprint of how I went from absolutely nothing to a 7-figure net worth. No jargon. No rented supercars. I'm giving you the exact cold emails I sent. The exact business model I used. Just the brutal mathematical truth of what it actually takes to make your first million in America today. Welcome back. If you're settling in for this masterclass, grab a notepad. We're going deep. Let's get straight to the painful truth. When you have $0, traditional financial advice is essentially useless. When you have $0, your biggest enemy isn't the stock market. It isn't the Federal Reserve. Your biggest enemy is time. Most financial advice is built for people who already have money. They tell you to skip the $5 latte and put it into a 401k. But if you're making the U.S. median income of roughly $60,000 a year and you save $5 a day at an 8% return, you'll be a millionaire in about 45 years. By then, $1 million will probably buy you a used Honda Civic. We don't have 45 years. We need condensed decades into days. The first thing I did when I had $0 was look for a shortcut. I wanted to hack. But here's the financial reality. Risk is inextricably linked to capital. When you have zero capital, you cannot afford to take capital risks. You only have one asset to risk. Your sweat, your focus. The hustle culture trap tells you to build passive income first. But you can't have passive income without active capital. I spent a year trying to build automated businesses with no money. The result? I made exactly $0. I was burning my time on zero leverage activities. The problem wasn't my work ethic. The problem was my leverage. The turning point happened when I stopped trying to make $1 million and started trying to make $10,000. Let me break down the math of wealth creation. Phase 1 is $0 to $10,000. You cannot invest your way out of being broke. If you have $100 and get a legendary 20% return in the stock market, you made $20. Congratulations, you can buy a pizza. To get from $0 to $10,000, you need to sell a service. You need a high-income skill. B2B sales, copywriting, video editing, software development. I learned to build landing pages for local businesses. Roofing companies, plumbers, dentists. Businesses that make real money but have terrible online presences. Here's exactly how I got my first client without spending a dime on ads. I sent this exact cold email to 50 local business owners a day. Hi, Mr. X. I saw your truck in my neighborhood. You guys have great reviews, but I noticed your website isn't optimized to capture leads on mobile. I built a custom mock-up for you to show you how you could book 3 to 5 more jobs a month. Mind if I send the link? So, the business owner replies to your email and says, sure, send the link to the mock-up. What do you do next? You absolutely do not just send the link. If you send the link, they look at it for 5 seconds and ghost you. You reply, I'd love to walk you through it so you can see how the mobile lead capture works. Do you have 10 minutes for a quick Zoom call tomorrow? Once you get them on the call, you use the psychology of risk reversal. Business owners are terrified of wasting money on marketing that doesn't work. So here is the exact script I use to close them. I'll build a site, host it, and optimize it for a one-time fee of $2,500. If it doesn't bring you at least one new paying client in the first 30 days, I will refund you completely. I took all the risk off their shoulders and put it on mine. And because my product was good, I never had to issue a single refund. I traded my time, but at premium rate. This is the grueling phase. You are the product. You are the marketing team. You are the customer service. But this is how you build your seed capital. Once I had my first $10,000, the game completely changed. I had a buffer. Now it was time to buy back my time. Welcome to Phase 2, the microagency. This is where we introduce asymmetric risk. Asymmetric risk means the downside is capped, but the upside is infinite. I took that $10,000 and instead of buying index funds, I invested it into myself. I stopped building websites myself and started a microagency. I hired 2 freelancers. As a freelancer, your income is capped by the hours you stay awake. To scale to $100,000, you have to separate your time from your revenue. I separated my time from my income. I was no longer selling hours. I was selling outcomes. The cash flow from the agency took me to $100,000, and this is where 90% of people mess up. They upgrade their lifestyle. They buy the car. They inflate their rent. Welcome to Phase 3, the march to $1 million. Now that we have real capital, the stock market becomes our best friend. I kept my living expenses exactly the same as when I was broke. Every single dollar of profit from the business went into buying income-producing assets. Broad market index funds. I wasn't picking individual stocks. I wasn't timing the market. I let the greatest wealth creation machine in human history, the American economy, do the heavy lifting. Business cash flow feeds the investment portfolio. The portfolio compounds. But let's talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to index funds. Everyone feels like a financial genius in a bull market. But what happens when the market drops 20% or 30%? What happens when you log into your brokerage account and see that you are suddenly down $80,000? In 2020, my portfolio dropped by 6 figures in a matter of weeks. The psychological pressure to sell and save what's left is overwhelming. But if you panic sell, you lock in your losses. You permanently destroy your wealth engine. You turn a temporary paper loss into a permanent financial reality. The secret to conquering the S&P 500 isn't just buying consistently. It's having the emotional control to hold your ground when the sky is falling. You have to train your brain to view market crashes not as a disaster, but as a massive, once-in-a-decade discount sale on the greatest companies in America. Before we wrap up, I have to warn you about the 3 wealth destroyers. These are the silent traps that catch 99% of people who start this journey but never finish. Destroyer number 1, the expert trap. This is when you stop doing the boring work that's making you money and start overcomplicating your strategy with high-risk options or hot new trends. Stick to what works. If your microagency is printing cash, don't pivot into AI trading bots because you saw a TikTok about it. Consistency is the only superpower that matters. Destroyer number 2, social comparison. You will see people you grew up with buying houses and taking vacations while you're still grinding in your small apartment. You are playing a different game. They are playing for the appearance of wealth. You are playing for the reality of freedom. Don't trade your future for their approval. Destroyer number 3, tax neglect. As your income jumps from $50,000 to $250,000, the government becomes your most expensive partner. If you don't plan for it, you'll end the year broke despite making a fortune. Hire a professional accountant the moment you cross $50,000 in profit. It will be the best $2,000 you ever spend to protect the other $48,000. If you can avoid these three traps, you aren't just making money. You are building an indestructible financial fortress. Now, let's bring it all home. So, let's recap the truth no one tells you about making $1 million. 1. You can't skip the sweat equity phase. You need a high-income skill to generate seed capital. 2. You have to detach your time from your money by building a business or an agency. Leverage is everything. 3. You aggressively funnel that business cash flow into boring, predictable, compounding assets. It took me 7 years. 7 years of eating cheap food, driving a beat-up car, and working weekends. It wasn't a 30-day challenge. It was a lifestyle architecture. Anyone who tells you it's easy is trying to sell you something. But if you are willing to embrace the boring, grueling mathematical truth of wealth creation, your million is waiting for you. If you want to stop falling for financial fairy tales and start building real wealth, hit that subscribe button. Join us here at the Fiscal Pulse. We are decoding the global economy, one truth at a time. I'll see you in the next one.